The ranch is real. The Yellowstone Denton Ranch is a real place called Chief Joseph Ranch, located in Darby, Montana. It's named after the Nez Perce chief who led his people across the land in 1877, and was run by a glass tycoon and federal judge until it became a guest ranch, run by the glass tycoon's wife and daughters. And you can stay there. You can rent out cabins on the real Yellowstone Ranch, and you can only get a tour of the set and ranch if you're renting a cabin. The 2 cabins available to stay in are Lee's cabin, which becomes John's cabin in season 2, and Rip's cabin. They cost a minimum $1,000 to $100 a night. A log cabin dream. While you can't rent the lodge house, it is also very real. The log mansion is 6,000 square feet and was finished in 1920. And according to a New York Times article from 1993, a 42-pound pet bobcat used to snooze by the fireplace. Beginning in 1987, the house was owned and repaired by Melvin Purvey, a nuclear systems control engineer and member of the Chippewa tribe. It's all filmed in Montana now. Filming locations originally included stages in Park City, Utah, but in 2020, all of the filming was moved to Montana. All new stages were built in Missoula, with filming also taking place in Hamilton and at the nearby ranch. Nothing to do with the park. Yellowstone does not actually take place in Yellowstone National Park, but the real ranch is nearby, or as nearby as you can get. The park encompasses 3,472 square miles and is larger than Rhode Island and Delaware combined. It takes a few hours to drive from the Chief Joseph Ranch to the park. But that's nothing in Montana. No one else could play Rip. Several of the show's biggest roles were written for their actors. Kohlhauser and Gil Birmingham were the only actors Sheridan had in mind for Rip and Thomas. And while the role of John wasn't written for Kevin Costner, Costner became a vital part of making the show successful as soon as he read the script. Cowboys on and off screen. Multiple members of the cast are real-life cowboys. Aside from creator Taylor Sheridan, bunkhouse residents Jake Ream, Ryan Bingham, and Ethan Lee all have real ranch experience, while Forey J. Smith, who plays Lloyd, is about as much of a cowboy as you can find in Hollywood. Ream also taught other cast members how to ride. Kelly Riley can really ride. According to Sheridan, Kelly Riley is the best rider on the cast, even though Beth hardly ever gets on a horse on screen. Sheridan also says Beth is the toughest character on the show and his favorite to write for. Actors learn from cowboy camp before filming begins on any of Sheridan's Yellowstone shows. Actors get to attend cowboy camp. They learn how to ride horses from real cowboys, get to know their horses, and are immersed in the world of ranching so that there's no doubt that the Duntons know what they're doing when it comes to running a ranch. But not everyone's a natural. Jefferson White, who plays troublesome ranch hand Jimmy, grew up in New York and had barely even seen a horse before he came to set. Most of his rodeo scenes use a stunt double, and he rides a mechanical horse for the close-ups. Yellowstone, Forey J. Smith, 12 of 31, Paramount, the realest cowboy of them all. Forey J. Smith was born to 2 ranchers, and was competing in rodeos by the time he was 8 years old and riding bareback at 11. After falling off a horse at the age of 6, he decided he wanted to be a stuntman, and he started working in Hollywood in the 80s. He owns his own ranch in New Mexico and spends as much time there as possible. His son Forrest also appears in Yellowstone as the younger version of Lloyd, and Lloyd's bunk is filled with actual memorabilia from Smith's rodeo days. Taylor Sheridan writes it. All Sheridan has a writing credit on every single episode of Yellowstone in 1883, and only had co-writers on the pilot and in most of the second season. He also will typically write an episode in just a few hours. This is all pretty unusual for a major television show that's 4 seasons in, but you won't find Yellowstone stars complaining about the writing. Gil Birmingham, who plays Chief Thomas Rainwater, is of Comanche descent and, like his character, grew up believing he was Mexican. He says this is a common story for many Native people, and has praised Sheridan's sensitivity to the Native aspect of the show. Gil Birmingham was once a bodybuilder. Gil Birmingham was also a petrochemical engineer, and a bodybuilder before becoming an actor in his 30s. He appeared in the music video for Diana Ross' song Muscles. Vanable, who played eldest Dunn's son Lee, knew from the start that his character was going to die in the first episode. He passed on the role at first due to scheduling, but Sheridan called and asked if he was an idiot. Once he got to the traditional cowboy camp that precedes each Sheridan Western production, he was sad his character would have to die, but he had a hell of an exit. It was like my second day of work when I died. I was laying in Kevin Costner's groin, and he was like petting my hair and giving me kisses on my forehead. And I was hearing this beautiful performance, he told THR, and I was like, holy ST, that's Kevin Costner right now. I was so starstruck. It was really so awesome. Kelly Riley is a Shakespearean actress. While it's hard to imagine any Duntons living anywhere besides a ranch in Montana, Kelly Riley is actually an English actress who was nominated for a prestigious Laurence Olivier Award for her theatrical talents in multiple productions, including a 2009 run of Othello. She's an award-nominated Shakespearean actor who's apparently absolutely stellar at accents. But is anyone surprised that Beth is incredible off-screen as well as on-screen, doing it for the brand on the Denton Ranch? Both cows and cowboys are branded with the Yellowstone Denton logo. This is not typical for real-life ranchers, but on Yellowstone, it signifies a ranch hand's loyalty to the Dentons and the ranch's loyalty in return. This is especially important, considering how most of the ranch hands have committed crimes on behalf of the ranch. So it's sort of like mutually assured destruction. If the ranch goes down, they go down with it. Kevin Costner did not grow up on a ranch, but he's been inspired by the Western genre since he saw how the West was won as a kid. He also played a cowboy in Wyatt Earp, Open Range, Hatfields, and McCoys. And he's about to direct a series of Western films called Horizon. The horses all have incredible names. Taylor Sheridan owns most of the horses used in the show. On screen, they have names like Ray, Owen, and Lucky. In real life, their names are things like Dunnett, Chexonick, and Walla Walla Starbuck. The show also features many horses that Sheridan does not own but who are reigning rodeo champions. Those famous horses include Metallic Cat, Metallic Memory, Metallic Cat's Son, Spookernickerin, Will Joe Cash, High Class Trash, Custom Made Guns, Smartly Starstruck, and 1910. Piper Perabo was no Yellowstone newbie. Piper Perabo joined the series as a new character in Season 4, but Yellowstone has been a family affair for her since Season 2. That's when her husband, Stephen Kay, began directing episodes. Kay has directed every season finale since Season 2 and every season premiere since Season 3, including the Season 5 premiere. 1. Yellowstone is the most watched TV show on basic cable, unless you count Sunday Night Football and Thursday Night Football. Strangely, Monday Night Football rates lower than Yellowstone, and the next most watched scripted show is NCIS. The show has only become more popular. Every season of Yellowstone has increased in viewership, and the season for finale hit 10.3 million live and same-day viewers, making it the most watched episode of a cable TV show since the Season 8 premiere of The Walking Dead. For comparison, less than 3 million people tuned in for the Season 1 finale. Yellowstone has no actual plot. Sheridan describes the show as plotless. It's basically, I own a bunch of stinking land and a bunch of people wanted to take it. He told Deadline, you could drop this show in Spain, in Eastern Europe, or Northern Africa. Anywhere, and someone is experiencing a similar circumstance to some degree. He says he wanted to showcase the life of modern-day cowboys because it has never been done right. Yellowstone could have been on HBO originally. Yellowstone was just going to be a 10-episode miniseries, and at one point it was going to be on HBO. According to Sheridan, he had written scripts before he sat down with a senior VP at HBO who told him, nobody wants to see this. The success of Yellowstone has spawned for spin-offs 1883, which premiered in late 2021. The spin-offs bring new huge stars into the Yellowstone universe, including Tim McGraw, Faith Hill, Harrison Ford, Helen Mirren, and David Oyelowo. Taylor Sheridan pulls double duty. Taylor Sheridan began his career as an actor with small parts in Veronica Mars and Walker, Texas Ranger. His most prominent role was in Sons of Anarchy as David Hale. He has now moved primarily into screenwriting and directing, though he still makes appearances in some of his shows. Meet the First Sixes in Season 4 of Yellowstone. Jimmy gets sent to the First Sixes ranch in Texas, and that ranch will be the setting for a new Yellowstone spin-off. Sheridan actually owns that ranch after its last owner died in 2020, and she wished for it to be put up for sale. It was listed for $347 million and comes with a long, rich history of producing some of the best horses in the world. John Denton rocks. Kevin Costner has a rock band called Kevin Costner and Modern West, and in 2020 they released an album called Tales from Yellowstone. It features songs written from the perspective of John Denton, and some songs by the band have been included on the show. Paramount, looking to rebrand itself from Spike TV and attract A-list actors to upcoming shows, was willing to pay Kevin Costner $500,000 per episode during Season 1. Kevin Kay, then head of Paramount Network, said the move shows that we're open for business and willing to pay top-tier actors whatever their quotes are. It sends a message, and that's what we wanted to do. Since Season 1, the actor now reportedly makes $1.3 million per episode of Season 5. The Denton family chef, Gator, is played by Gabriel Gator Gilbo, the real-life chef for the Yellowstone cast and crew. Gator comes from a long line of Southern cooks and has since made a name for himself in Hollywood as the head of craft services for several productions, including The Maze Runner, Jurassic World, Scream Queens, and Terminator Genesis. Before booking the role of Rourke Morris in Season 3, Josh Holloway considered Yellowstone his favorite show on TV. After the Season 3 finale, which featured most of the Duntons possibly dying, the cast didn't know who would be returning for Season 4, and finally, Taylor Sheridan said all of the storylines in every season so far have been about watching the slow death of a family, and the wild season to finale was really when that idea came to a head. Sheridan has said that John's wife, who died from a horse riding accident, was the true leader of the family, with her death offering a real look at how all these people are sitting there, trying to figure out how to exist without that void.